All roads and evidence in regard to Andrew Astbury's murder were leading to one person, Steven Pavic. Not only had he threatened Andrew 2 months before, but his bloodied shoes, jeans and gloves were found in a garbage bag near to where Andrew's body was found.
This morning, homicide detectives arrested a 24-year-old Eltham man at his work in Preston and are questioning him over the killing.
Do you know anything in relation to the disappearance and murder of Andrew Astbury?
Yes.
What can you tell me about it?
The night that Andrew disappeared, I just went past Shannon's house and saw Andrew's car parked out the front. Just went home.
And what have you done once you got home?
I just sat down on my bed for a while and just had a beer.
And while you're sitting there having a drink, what's happened then?
I was just started thinking about Andrew's car being at the front of Shannon's house.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted Shannon to be my girlfriend again, so I just wanted to find out what was happening, if he was going out with her or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case he was, I wanted to like scare him a little bit. But I didn't want to hurt him. That's just one thing I didn't want to do. I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to cause him any pain or anything like that. I just wanted to scare him a little bit and find out what's happening. So I went into the garage and grabbed a fishing knife, got in the car and drove to Warrandyte. Then I parked down this little road and just jogged up to Andrew's joint.
And I was sitting somewhere around here. We can't sort of remember exactly where, just somewhere around there. I went down there and had a piss.
Put on some my gym gloves just in case I got into an argument with Andrew or something, and if he punched me, so I could punch him back without hurting my hands.
Then Andrew's car just pulled up there.
Towards the stones there?
I think it was up there. I can't remember exactly where. And so I just walked up there behind it. I was just kneeling down behind it because I didn't want him to see me. I wanted to surprise him.
I heard his car door open and walked up next to him and just said, "I want to talk to you."
I grabbed him in a headlock.
Yep.
And started walking down here. And I pulled out my knife, just sort of shoved it in his face, saying what was happening. Walked over to here, and then the next thing I knew, I fell down there, and like we both ended up sort of over there.
He just rolled around on the grass, sort of wrestling him a bit. The next thing I knew, I just stabbed him. And the handle just broke off. I don't know if it was because it rolled on top of it or something. And he just yelled, and I just didn't know what to do. There was blood everywhere. I was just saying sorry, put my hand over his mouth to stop him yelling, because he was just yelling, and I just said sorry and just ran away. When I went back, it was just wasn't making a noise. So I just grabbed him and carried him down the end of the road.
How were you carrying him at this stage?
I think it was sort of like, if you want me to show you, I think it was just sort of like that.
In all the reenactments I've done, yes, offenders will intimate how they've done a particular action and that, not physically involve me in the process.
Like that.
And to be picked up and so easily by a powerful man, that was a little bit daunting in some regards. That path that he took was up and down dale, it was through the bush and underneath trees and that. It would have taken a lot of physical power and exertion to carry a body that far. He was a very powerful man.
I kept dragging him along until I got up to the top. took a pretty long time. And then I quickly rang back and got the car.
Pavic's car was parked just down from the driveway. The place, witnesses had seen it on that fatal night.
And then I just went up there and grabbed him and just dragged him and chucked him in the back of the car.
Pavic then drove Andrew's body to bushland, 20 kilometres away.
I took his clothes off because they were all covered in blood.
And I had a garbage bag in the car, just with some clothes from a friend of mine. We went down to the beach on the weekend and I had his clothes in and a few towels and stuff. So I just chucked them in there.
Just put it in that log, that burnt log down there.
Can you just walk in to the close police and point to it?
Just in there. Yep. And then when I was walking up, I saw the that big yellow thing.
Pavic handcuffed Andrew to the engine part and then dumped him in the river.
Pavic cried at one stage of the interview. I think it's more a case of he was crying because of the pressure on him and that he'd been caught. I don't think there was much remorse about that he killed Andrew, just a case of that he'd been caught.
I just want everyone to know that I just didn't plan this to happen. It just happened like that. It's something unfortunate. This was the last thing in the world that I wanted to happen.
So Steven Pavic had admitted to killing Andrew Astbury, yet he was trying to establish a case for manslaughter. However, detectives had evidence it was a premeditated, brutal murder.
We knew a lot of what he was telling us was rubbish. So from our point of view, he was putting on a good show.
Homicide Squad detectives led Steven Francis Pavic into the City Watch House late last night after a day of questioning.
24-year-old Steven Pavic had been charged with the murder of Andrew Astbury. He had told police that he was there the night Andrew died, but Andrew's death was an accident.
I just want everyone to know that I just didn't plan this to happen. It just happened like that. It's something unfortunate. This was the last thing in the world.
Throughout his interview and walk around with the police, he reiterated this a number of times.
Like, I didn't mean to hurt him down there. Look, I didn't want any of this to happen, and it's just sort of happened. I just want to say that, like, I didn't want this to happen, and I feel terrible about it all.
We knew exactly what had taken place, and we knew that he was setting up a manslaughter defence. We knew a lot of what he was telling us was rubbish.
And it's totally self-serving. It's to try and convince a judge and jury that it was a spontaneous action that resulted in Andrew's death, and it wasn't. It was a premeditated murder.
So from our point of view, he was putting on a good show.
Why did you take the knife with you from home to Andrew's house?
To try and scare Andrew.
I put it to you that you intended to take the knife with you to kill Andrew. What do you say?
No way. No way. There's no way I would have done that.
He rolled on top of me and I rolled on top of him, and the handle was just busted off. And
Do you know where the handle was?
no, it's somewhere down there, I'd say. I don't know.
I think
exactly where.
Pavic, like a lot of good liars, put in 90% truth and 10% fiction. The bits about it being an accident, I think, was fiction.
I thought it was nonsense. I was at the post-mortem and I saw the blade being removed from Andrew's body, and nothing would convince me that he was stabbed accidentally in a struggle.
And it was proved fact by the forensic pathologist.
A considerable degree of force would need to be applied to the knife to cause the tip to snap off. It appeared that the knife was inserted above the left collarbone and headed almost vertically downwards through the subclavian artery, causing damage to the collarbone and the first rib and entering the upper part of the left chest. Because of the number of injuries to bone seen in this case, the knife was either inserted multiple times through the same injury or that with a single insertion, the knife was moved around while it was inserted in the body. These features are not consistent with accidental injury and are most consistent with intentional injury.
Pavic was just far superior in size and strength, and if Pavic had grabbed him, he wouldn't have had a chance of escaping or fighting back for that matter.
And there was further damning evidence. Police had in their hands proof that this was not the accident that Pavic claimed.
We became aware of a conversation with Pavic where Pavic indicated that his intention was to kill Andrew and that he believed that he'd probably get away with a manslaughter.
I've spoken to a solicitor, right? Yeah, and when it comes to the crunch, I'm going to spew my guts and tell him what happened. I stabbed the... probably get away with manslaughter. I just have to make sure that, like, no one knew it was premeditated.
In that same conversation, we had pretty damning admissions that he'd had premeditation, that he'd laid in wait for Andrew on at least one other occasion, and Andrew hadn't come home.
If we don't find evidence in these cases to prove premeditation or an intent to kill, and the story goes before a jury where you have the lovesick fellow who lost his girlfriend and goes to sort it out with a new boyfriend, then most occasions they will get off with a manslaughter. So for us, it was very important that we had those admissions of premeditation.
It was clear by now that Steven Pavic had murdered Andrew Astbury in cold blood. If there was any doubt as to how callous he'd been, his refusal to say how he dumped the body was a clear sign of his guilt.
Just down there and across through there, then down and then just down to the river.
All right, do you want to come down with us?
Look, I don't know, this is sort of dragging on a bit. You sort of know everything now, don't you?
Well, we just want to see which way you've come down here, Steve.
No, I don't want to say anything else, sorry.
Sorry?
No, I'm not saying anything else about this. Like, there's a massive hill there, it's just... Sorry.
When we stopped the tape and asked him why he didn't want to continue at that stage, he said that he'd thrown the body over a cliff and the jury would convict him without a worry in the world if they knew of those things, so he didn't want to continue at that stage. The way he treated the body was disrespectful. I mean, you know, he stripped the body down, he threw away jewellery and items of identification. He's dragged the body through the bush, he's thrown it over cliffs, he's weighted it down, thrown it into the river. He had no concern about what he was doing to Andrew's body. He just wanted to do what he had to do to get rid of the body.